February 8th, 2013, from the stylish high-tech underground studios of Ribbit Media in Warwick, Rhode Island, this is NewsUndies. For February 8th, 2013, this is NewsUndies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. Queen Beatrix will abdicate the Dutch throne at the end of April. I'll mark my calendar. Could crash the stock market or the internet. CVS televises the most expensive power outage in U.S. history and, from what I understand, a football game. Applebee's commits social media suicide online. Superdome goes super dark. Some occupants displeased. King Richard III's body, buried in the summer of 1485, has been discovered under a parking lot and positively identified. Jimmy Hoffa? Still missing. Oil rig sinks in the Persian Gulf. Region is so messed up, the locals don't notice or care. After committing social media suicide, someone with the keys to Applebee's official Facebook account spends hours fitting more feet than should be possible in Applebee's corporate mouth just to demonstrate its social media savvy. Beyoncé redeems herself with fans at Super Bowl halftime show, but then freaks out the black helicopter crowd with a supposed Illuminati hand sign. Female Japanese singer shaves her head, then apologizes. Thank goodness she apologized. I probably would not have gotten through the day without the apology. Alicia Keys draws fire for sitting while singing the national anthem. Oh, and she was playing piano at the time. I suppose a drummer, a cellist, and an organist would also catch hell for being so disrespectful. Honestly, people, have you ever tried to play piano standing up? John Kerry is now officially the Secretary of State. Prepare for impassioned diplomacy. There will be yelling and throwing of chairs. There is still sound coming out of Donald Trump. All efforts to remedy this problem, so far, have failed. Obama fires gun. Gun nuts, go nuts. Hey, at least he didn't do it from the USS Abraham Lincoln. Wayne LaPierre. Duplicitous douchebag? Inconceivable! My friends tell me there was a thing on TV this past Sunday, and in the midst of it there was a commercial played in which NRA CEO Wayne LaPierre said, while testifying before a Senate committee in 1999, ready for this? Quote, "We think it's reasonable to provide mandatory instant criminal background checks for every sale at every gun show. No loopholes, anywhere, for anyone." End quote. Contrast this with his remarks last week before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Quote, "Background checks will never be universal because criminals will never submit to them." End quote. Now, this is not to say that I don't think anyone should be permitted to change their mind in light of persuasive, verifiable evidence. For example, when I was 7, I believed there was a God. When I was 8, I didn't. But to go from, quote, "background checks for all gun sales," end quote, to no background checks because criminals don't follow the law, end quote, is kind of missing the point. Unless that's not the point. If your goal is to retain an enormous unregulated black market for instruments whose primary purpose is delivering deadly force quickly, accurately, and at a significant distance, then I can see how that would be completely getting the point. It's a bad, dumb point, but it's a pointy point. And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? Sony implicitly admits it was still making mini-disc players by announcing canceling them. For those in the radio news business, this is extraordinarily bad news, because there is no compact, portable, inexpensive, rewritable digital audio media ever anywhere, and there never will be. Well, at least in 1992, when the mini disc was first introduced to the public. Solid-state solutions weren't really practical in the consumer market, and recordable CD-ROMs were not portable. Fine. By 2001, the iPod was on the scene, and with hard drives capable of storing up to 10 gigabytes of data. With a typical 10-to-1 compression available with MP3 and similar formats, that's 100 CDs worth of storage. The point of minidisc was lost then. Fast forward a dozen years. You can now find 8-gigabyte flash drives as prizes in your kid's cereal. Oh, and just in case you were feeling like the sky was falling, Sony's only ending production of minidisc equipment. The media? Well, much like Celine Dion's heart, it will go on. And you're welcome for putting that song in your head. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. If you see news that shouldn't be news, you can submit your story tips online at newsundies.com. NewsUndies is a weekly show. We'll be back on Friday, February 15th with fresh undies. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, ignore us on MySpace, subscribe on YouTube, tell your friends, and buy NewsUndies Kitsch. Thanks for watching. Until next time, for all of us here at NewsUndies, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be trying to sing, dance, play a sit-down instrument, and stand for the national anthem all at once. February 8th, 2013. Okay, February 8th. February. I hate that word. Talk about inconceivable.